like hours, they expand and shrink. Memories blur faster than you think. A moment's forever, the next.
Howdy there. It is now a few days before Christmas. I have spent the last week being incredibly sick. Um, and I'm finally nearly over it. I have the lingering sniffles and a little bit of a cough, so I'll do my best to work around that. When I was doing the video for the top 5 patterns on Ravelry, I was sick when I filmed that portion where I was talking the entire time. It was really just a great call by me, but I didn't really have a choice based on the scheduling of how everything worked out. And my video, the initial video that I recorded of me talking was like 25 minutes long. And then, like, after cutting out every single sniffle and pause where I had to try and breathe through a stuffed up nose, it ended up being like 20 minutes. So I had 5 minutes of sniffling. Being sick is just superb. Anyway, it is just a few days before Christmas, like I said. So this is just kind of downtime now. I'm not stressing over any project for the next few months, ideally. Although I may try and force something through for my boyfriend. His birthday is beginning of the year, but probably not. Probably not. I'm pretty tired, pretty burnt out from all the projects I've been making, like on a deadline where I was trying to finish his sweater and then finishing those projects for the video. So right now I am just going to be chill making for the next few weeks at least. Maybe I'll be inspired to try and force something else out. But for now, I'm just playing catch up on other things. So first thing on my priorities that I want to finish is the second sock from the vanilla sock pattern from the top 5 Ravelry videos, Ravelry patterns video that I made. I'm almost done with it. I did a lot of work on it over the past couple of days. I was finally able to start knitting again. When I was sick, I was just sleeping for the first like 3-4 days. I didn't have any energy to do anything. I tried to knit while being sick. It did not work out for me. But over the past couple of days, I did start this. And then today I finished the last like 1/3 of the leg, and I did all of the heel flap and heel turn. I am now working on the decrease for the toe, and this should be done in the next couple of days. Again, I'm not rushing myself, but I know how easy this part is. And it's pretty mindless once you finish the decreasing. So that'll be good. And then second on my priority list, just because it's a small project and I also just really want it while it's still cold, I have started another Sophie hood. They are kind of my addiction right now. I just think they look so pretty. I don't know. I just think they look so pretty. And I think I look a lot better in the hoods than I do a beanie. That is my um, that is my analysis of wearing a Sophie hood and my reasoning for making a billion, as in this is my third, but whatever. I got this really pretty variegated yarn from Michaels. It is the Loops and Threads Facets. It is an acrylic yarn. It's an acrylic yarn that feels like a roving yarn. It splits very easily is the point I'm trying to make here, but I do think it's really pretty. The stripes I think are pretty cool. I'm nearly finished with the first leg of the hood, and then I have to actually make the hood itself and then the second leg. I know that this will take me only a couple of days, but because I've been sick, this is a project I started when I was sick and I was trying to work on it, and it has taken me like a week to get this far. It is what it is. We can't always be working at the speed that we want to. So those are my 2 main projects right now. Another project I have going on is a cardigan that I started. So a few years ago, my mom told me that she was going to make me a vest. And it was the Poet vest. I can show the pattern here. But she got distracted with a different turn of life and she stopped knitting for those few years. So the other day I went to her house and she's like, "Hey, I have a gift for you." And she just hands me the whip of the vest that she had started. She didn't get very far. She had finished like the ribbing of the vest. Um, and she's like, "This is for you. Make it yourself." And I'm like, "That's great and all. Do you mind if I use the yarn for something else though? Because I kind of no longer really want that vest. It's been a few years and it's not really the aesthetic I'm going for anymore." She was like, "No, that's fine. Use it for whatever you want." So I picked out this really pretty pattern. It's called the Millie cardigan, and I started that. So this is, I believe, the back yoke. It doesn't really say. I think I'm building it out from the back yoke though. I think it's really pretty. The yarn that I'm using for this, hold. This is Barocco Ultra Wool, 100% superwash, in the shade 33161. I don't know. It's really pretty. It's this minty teal color I picked out a few years ago, back when green and blue were starting to become my favorite colors and not pink. But I think it's really pretty. So that is also something I will be working on throughout this little vlog. But that is not a brain free project. That is not a mind off flow state project. I have to have the pattern open. That is going to be a when I have the time to sit down and put on something incredibly mindless in the background that I don't have to focus on. That's when that project gets whipped out. It is not a sit at my desk and watch a TV show that I want to invest my time in kind of thing. And I definitely can't work on it while I'm working because it requires way too much thinking. Whereas the Sophie hood and the sock are pretty mindless. They're pretty mindless. It's a little bit of counting, but it's not, my full attention needs to be on this project right now, kind of counting. So those are the three main projects I'm working on right now. But yeah, so the sock I think will only take me a couple more days, if not a day. I'm gonna be working on it tonight. It's still pretty early. I do have to work for the week, except for Christmas I have off. The hood I know will also only take me a couple of days. So I should have those finished in the next few days. And then I will just be working slowly on the Millie cardigan, which is pretty, but going to be time consuming. I think eventually I'll enter flow state on it once the pattern becomes repetitive and I stop having to increase. But until then, we are sitting there with the pattern open, staring at it. So I'm gonna get some work done on it. Well, not on that. I'm gonna get some work done on this sock. I'll see you. So I have finished the second sock. I now have a pair of socks that I don't actually really like that much. I'm going to be honest with you. But they are done. So I can at least say I have completed a pair of socks. I think I messed up in that I should have probably made them about half an inch longer in the toe. They are a little bit too short, and um, the decrease edge here kind of like goes under my toes when I put them on, which leads me to believe I just didn't make them long enough. And that's something to learn for next time. It was my first pair of socks ever. I do have so much of this left over. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be a sock making kind of person. I do have a whole skein of pink yarn. It was the one of a kind yarn that I got from Twisted Ambitions. Hello, Pumpkin. Um, Pumpkin just rolled up here. She just ate dinner and decided to give me a kiss. Thank you, baby. I do have a whole skein of a pink yarn from Twisted Ambitions, the same guy who made this yarn. It's pretty. It was a one of a kind from a mystery bag that I got on Small Business Saturday. I do want to use it because it is pretty, but I don't know when I'm going to get around to using that because I do have several other projects on my list that I want to make right now. But I have been eyeing the Poet Socks by Sari Nordlund. I just really love her work. And the Poet Socks are really cute. She has a lot of other really cute sock patterns as well. So I might just delve through those and pick something from her because I just don't think, like I mentioned, I just don't think I'm a plain sock girly. Um, they're cute, they're cool. It's something different. I made this and I'm happy that I made them, but I don't have any real interest in these. So basically, I have a really expensive pair of socks I'm probably never going to wear. Oops. We'll see. Anyway, so that is one project off my list that I have completed. Now I am full steam ahead onto the Sophie hood. It looks kind of wild on camera. I'm not going to lie. I think it's a little bit more subtle and soft in real life, but on camera, it's kind of crazy. I don't know how I feel about it. It's fine. I'm still going to finish it. I think it's still going to be really cool. And something unique, something different. I don't usually wear things like that, but stripes are quite literally timeless. I'm nearly done with increasing. I think I have like 2 increases left, and then I will be working on the hood portion of that. So I'm gonna definitely get that far tonight, unless I decide to work on the Millie cardigan, just because I haven't worked on that all week, and I really like working on it. So we'll see. But yeah, so it's nice to have something done. Just quick little check-in. That's it. So yeah, I have another project finished here. So this is my third Sophie hood now. On camera, I feel like these colors look kind of wild, kind of crazy, but I really like how it looks in real life. I think it's really nice. The colors are kind of soft. So I think this one will get a lot of wear, and it's done just in time because we're getting back into freezing weather next week. This one is made of acrylic, so I am going to be more willing to wear this in more inclement weather like snow and rain, just because I like the look of the hood and I don't want to use my natural fibered ones in bad weather. I just want those when it's cold. So this one I will wear during worse weather because I'm not afraid of ruining this one. It wasn't anything crazy. Also, I did cut my hair, well, just my bangs. Let me tell you guys, I have been going to hairdressers for the past like year or so, and I will say, yeah, just like a trim. I usually have my hair about up my shoulder. I need a little something. Also, please, can you get me bangs because I like bangs? And the last 2 times, they've been like, you got it. We will get you. And then they cut my hair and they give me curtain bangs, which I am not a big fan of. They grow out weird. They don't work with my face personally. I'm not the biggest fan of them. I usually end up pinning them back and getting them out of my face. So I took it upon myself the other day, Christmas Eve, to just chop them off. They are a little bit too long. So I am going to trim them again. The reason being, though, is like my hair is curly. It's naturally a little bit curly. So I cut them a little bit longer to see how they would react with the curl. And it's just a little too long. So I'm going to cut a couple centimeters off to make that a little bit better. So another project is finished. Very happy to have this one done. I think I'm done with mindless projects for a little bit, though. I want something that I need to think about, which leads me to the Millie cardigan that I started. This takes a lot of brain power. It's not like hard. It's just I have to think. It's so pretty though. Can we just acknowledge how pretty this pattern is? And it's going to be that all the way down and around and across and down the sleeves and all of that. So I have a long ways to go on that one. So I'm going to dive into that and try and buckle down. It's one of those patterns where I'm only like 30 rows in because each row takes quite a bit of time. We'll see. Anyway, I'm going to get some work done on that. Hello. I know I said I was going to go full speed ahead on the Millie cardigan, but I really need to get my steps in more. So I've decided I'm going to have a project that I can actually comfortably use or make while walking. And the Millie cardigan is not that because that requires me to read the pattern the entire time. So these are going to be, I believe they're called the Dog Walker fingerless mitts or the Dog Walk fingerless mitt, something like that. I will link the pattern down below if anyone wants it. It is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it's just pretty simple. You cast on enough to fit the circumference of your hand, and then you just stockinette for a while. I'm making a cuff now. I decided to go DPNs. It does call for 2.75 millimeter. I don't have that size. So I'm using 3 millimeter because I do typically have a tighter gauge. I did not do a gauge swatch, but to be fully transparent, I did already mess this up once and I twisted it. So I had to undo it. But before unraveling it entirely, I did slip it over my hand and it fit nicely. So that's nice. So yeah, now I'm going to, so this project is going to be my walking project, I've decided. So ideally, I will only work on this while walking. And I won't touch this in any other point. I'll see how long I hold true to that, but I'd like to say that I will. But yeah, I just want to get some more steps in. I have been very stagnant as of recently, very sedentary, very stoic and sitting down, and my body does not appreciate that. I need to move my body more. I go for dog walks every day, but the weather as of recently has been gross. It's just so cold here and so windy, and I just absolutely hate it. And we don't have good walking trails where we live. If I was in Denver, it would be a completely different story. Back where I lived in Denver, it was beautiful. There were walking trails everywhere. And like we had a state park, not a state, like we had an official park, like right behind our house. We were able to just walk there all the time. And we were able to go on like hour-long walks very comfortably. And we could go beyond that if we really wanted to. But where we are here in Tennessee, we sadly do not have that luxury. So Pumpkin gets her energy burned by playing around and running, and I help her with that, but I'm not getting as much movement as my body really needs, that's for sure. So
I'm going to try and get some steps in. It's just not my favorite activity, which is why I know I need something to do while I do it. It just keeps me distracted. If I can get lost in doing this, then that'll be great. I got back into it for a while by reading, but I lost interest in reading again. It's just hard for me to focus on that. I just want to be knitting or crocheting, whatever my fixation is at the time. So I have a show on. I'm going to take this mic off. I'm going to lock in. I'm going to buckle down on this and try and get quite a bit done, or I'm going to try and get a chunk done and see how we go.
It's been a few days since I've checked in, but I wanted to give you a little update on what is happening right now. So, for starters, I have my dog walking fingerless gloves, of which I am almost done with the first one. Here we have it, looking pretty nice. I actually really like how this looks. I think the wrist cuff is like the perfect length, and the fingers obviously are not quite done yet. I'm going to do probably about double what I have done of it, so it goes like just right to the base of my fingers, a little bit past it. I don't want them to get in the way of things. So this coming on really nicely. I have stuck to doing it 90% of the time while walking. The only things I did while sitting down was finishing up the thumb gusset, the bind off portion, because that just seemed a little unsafe to do while on the treadmill. As for my second and only other active project right now, I have my Millie cardigan still, of which is almost done with the body, believe it or not. Well, the body repeat portion, I should say. So it's looking really cute. I will insert a clip here of me trying it on as soon as I split for sleeves. I have done quite a bit of work on it since then. Doesn't look like it, but I did. And then after you finish the repeats, you go into 6 to 8 inches or so of a rib that ends in a really pretty scalloped edge, which was really the main reason why I wanted this cardigan. I really love the scallop edge. I thought that was really cute. So I'm excited for that. And then I don't have this project active yet, but I mentioned in my Everything I Made in 2025 video that I had made the Orchid Bloom pullover a few months ago. And when it came time for me to finally wear it in the winter, I realized it was significantly too small. And this was due to me never having done a gauge swatch before. So I already have plans to remake that sweater because I really wanted it for winter this year and I did not get a chance to wear it. So I am going to remake it. And the yarn I am going to use is it's a green yarn I used in the Musselburgh hat. If you remember, if you watched my top
5 patterns, making the top 5 most popular patterns on Ravelry video. So this is the Hobby Black Friday wool. They call this sage, but it is definitely much more vibrant than a sage, I would say. But I think it's really pretty still. It's a lovely, bright green. I will not be doing the gauge swatch in this though. I have this exact same yarn in a sandy tan color, also used in the Musselburgh hat from that same video. And I also used it for a Sophie scarf. I have a lot of that tan left over and I don't really have any plans for that yarn. Whereas this is a little bit more limited. So I only want to use this for the actual sweater. I had a little bit of this green left over in like a scrap ball from the hat that I made. So I did try and do a gauge swatch using the recommended needle sizes. The pattern calls for a 3mm for the lace and 3.5mm for the stockinette portion. And I tried to do the lace portion. That's what she says to start with. She says, do this repeat using the 3mm, doing the lace pattern for the cuff of the arm. Nowhere near, nowhere near gauge, which explains a lot. It explains a lot of my final product from last year because I used the recommended size to make that, and it did not come out the right size. So I will be sizing up a full needle size. So it recommends 3mm. I'll be sizing up to a 4mm to start with my gauge swatch, and then I will go from there. Part of me was I was comparing her finished product, Sari Nordlund's finished product, of hers from like her photos on the listing, and then my finished product when I was looking at it again for the first time in months, going, oh, there is like quite a difference. Like her lace work just looks a lot more open. Like she really she had like, I don't want to say like there's more gaps, but it's just like the spaces where the lace work happened just looked a lot more open than the one I made. I felt like maybe my gauge was too tight, clearly. But also I just have too much tension and I don't know how to not do that with lace work. So I will probably just have to size up, unfortunately. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. So I will be doing that in the next couple of days. I'll show you that when it's done. And we'll go from there. I don't think I'll be starting it anytime soon, though. I think I want to at least finish the body of this cardigan before I start the orchid bloom again. Because I remember really liking doing the lace work on it, which is why I wanted to make it again anyway. I kind of already wanted to make one in green. It's just a shame that I didn't even get to wear the first one I made because it just didn't fit me. So we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. And that's it for this check-in. See ya. Hi there. It's been a few days since I last checked in. I This is a final check-in for the video. I really wanted to finish the body by the end of this week, but I did not do that. And that is simply due to the fact that I am very tired of this project. The Millie cardigan specifically. That's what I've been talking about like the whole video. Yeah, it's just so much work. So one thing I will say is I did vastly overestimate the amount of inches that the ribbing would be. I said it would be like 6 inches long, and it's really like 2 inches. I have done about 1 inch so far. So I'm a little over halfway there, or around halfway there. It might be 2.5 inches, give or take. And then to get the scallop edge, you like drop stitches and you do something. I don't know. I haven't read that far. I'm just working on getting to the 2.5 inches. But each row at this point is taking me like 40 minutes because there are like 320 stitches on my needles. Something that I have done that I am very happy about, that has definitely made this feel a lot less daunting, is learning how to do a Norwegian purl, English style. If you don't know, and I didn't know this, a Norwegian purl is a unique way of doing a purl stitch where instead of looping your yarn in front, you pull the stitch to the back to loop it in the back as you would like a knit stitch, and then you kind of like twist your needle around, and it's weird. It's weird to explain. I did take a little video of me doing it while I did a rib stitch of knit one, purl one. So there's a little bit of insight for you on how to do it. The angle of which I was filming was incredibly uncomfortable. So it wasn't the cleanest of knit work for me, but if you want more information on how to do that, I can do like a more in-depth video on it later, or I can share what I found down below as well. But that has definitely made it so my wrist doesn't hurt as much because I hate purling on English style, but I don't find continental knitting very comfortable. For me, English knitting is definitely more comfortable. So to find an adaptation of the purl stitch while doing English style still makes me happy. So one good thing about that project is that I have that down. I wish I had learned about it while working on the entirety of this cardigan, where the back row is 9 purl knit 1, 9 purl knit 1, 9 purl knit 1 over and over again. And I didn't learn about it until doing knit 1 purl ones, but that's life. That's life. You just learn stuff. As for the fingerless gloves, I have finished one of them. It is perfect. I really, really love this pattern. It was very fast to do for all intents and purposes. I just didn't sit down to work on it. Like I had said, I was working on this while walking. So it definitely spread out the amount of which I was working on it in one sitting. But it fits perfectly. I will show you. So it fits perfectly. It's lovely. It does everything I need it to. I took this one out for a test drive while walking my dog the other day. And it's perfect. It does exactly what I need. So it's really more of like a wrist warmer, I'd say, because your fingers still get quite cold if it is very cold outside. So use real gloves if you need them. But for a free pattern, this is excellent for my purposes. I have started the second one. I spent like an hour on my treadmill working on this the other day. And yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along pretty quickly. I'd say I'm almost done with the wrist, actually, before I start doing the thumb gusset. So that's pretty cool. It's pretty fast. I'd say this takes 3 hours, 4 hours max if you sit down to work on it. So that's cool. I will probably have that done soon. So my goal for next week is to work on this. I think in my next video, I'm going to go over my project planning for like the first quarter of 2025. I didn't really want to do that for this one because I already had these projects, well, this project in particular on the needles, and I really wanted to finish that. And it didn't happen, but that's okay. I made a lot of progress on it over this past 3 weeks now. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the progress that I've made. And that's really it for this video. Just a nice, simple, casual little vlog. And yeah, next video, I will go over my 2026 Q1 goals. So tell me what you're working on right now. Please, I need inspiration. I'm going to make a list of what I want to do, but still on the fence on a couple of things. So let me know what you're working on. Recommend to me some good soft wool yarn because I'm not the biggest fan of this superwash, and I want to make a colorwork sweater. That's on my list of things to make for Q1. I know that for sure, but I want some good soft wool that is good for that. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Let me know what you're working on. And if you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you like hanging out for some chill times and whatever, hit that subscribe button, and I will see y'all around to the next one.